I'm from a modern generation. I'm idealistic, but I'm not dogmatic. And I'm traditional in one important way. I believe powerfully, profoundly, in the ability of ideas to change the world. My parents came to this country fleeing from persecution. They saw the power of ideas to cause suffering on an absolutely monumental scale. But they didn't try and close down ideas or close down debate as a result of that. They actually wanted to open up debate. They wanted fresh thinking, radical thinking, new thinking. They didn't give up on changing the world, because some people had changed it for the worse. They were actually inspired to try and change it for the better. And I sat and I listened and I tried to learn from that. And so in my adult life, I've tried to turn ideas into practical policies that improve people's lives. That's what politics, in the end, is all about. Now, we have to win the battle of ideas again. We have to earn the right to change the country again. And we have to do so in new circumstances, in a new era. I want to say something very upfront at the start. I don't just think my beliefs, my values, remain relevant and important to the problems of the modern world. I'm also incredibly proud of the way the Labour government, over the last 13 years, has improved people's lives. There's a great trashing going to be attempted in the next few weeks. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Every community in this country is richer, better, fairer than it was 13 years ago. Tony Blair over 10 remarkable years. Gordon Brown with historic courage, ability, insight in 3 very, very difficult years have made Britain better. And weren't Gordon's parting words an eloquent testimony, the most eloquent testimony to a life dedicated to fighting for fairness? Now, I believe that our beliefs, our values are relevant and important, and I believe we have a record that, of course, has mistakes, but has a lot to defend. But we have to face up to something. Despite those beliefs, despite the record, we lost. We lost badly. We have to understand that. There were silver linings. The Tories didn't get an overall majority, as they expected. We had MPs and candidates who got remarkable results. I mean, Alan Campbell is here from Tynemouth. And that's a Tory seat until 1992. And he's sitting on a 5,500 majority. He's going to catch up with me if I'm not careful. But remarkable results by our MPs. Really remarkable. Testimony to service, to public service. In local government, and Ian can say this from here, in local government we had fantastic results. 400 extra councillors for the Labour Party. And we've got as many MPs pretty much as we had in 1992. So we're not in a 1993 situation. But really don't misunderstand this. We lost badly. We lost more than 90 seats. We got less than 30% of the vote. In the 3 southern regions of England outside London, there are 12 Labour MPs out of 212 MPs. We lost 18% of the vote among semi-skilled workers. Many lifelong trade unionists were wondering, what's the Labour Party got to offer me? We've got to understand the depth and the breadth of the defeat that we've suffered if we're going to find a way out. Now, I would say the message is this. We were not sent into retirement, but we were sent for serious rehabilitation. That's the task in front of us. And it starts with understanding why we lost. I think fundamentally it's simple and not that complex. We lost because this was a change election, and we seem to represent the old order. Future is the most important word in politics, yet we didn't manage to capture it. Now, why was that the case? I think fundamentally we agreed what was necessary after 2005 and 2006. Tony, Gordon, the rest of us, we all said we had to renew ourselves, renew our policies, renew our culture, renew our organisation. Not a rebooting of New Labour, but something more fundamental than that. We had to build a renaissance of progressive politics. And we failed to do that. On policy, we were not proud enough of our record, not humble enough about our mistakes, not clear enough in our offer. We saved the National Health Service for future generations. Yet there wasn't a single question in any of the prime ministerial debates about the National Health Service. We lost focus on education and antisocial behaviour. We seemed to be late to the game when it came to issues of immigration, housing, welfare. We had some good policies, but they didn't add up to a coherent vision for the future of our country. That's policy. And we should talk honestly about culture as well, culture and organisation. This is an age of participation, of openness, of dialogue, of debate. Let's say we did not symbolise that openness, that transparency, that dialogue, that debate. We talked about political reform, admittedly a bit late in the day, but we couldn't escape what seemed to be the old politics. More about deals than dialogue, more a game than a calling. And if you're an electoral machine, as we must be, you are replenished as a living, breathing movement for change. And the MPs who succeeded, some of them in this room, showed that. But we need that to happen everywhere, in every part of the country, in every part of our movement, if we are to learn the right lessons from this. Now, what was the conclusion from that? I think that our conversation with the public broke down. That's essentially what I think happened. And we have to restart our conversation with the most precious asset that each and every one of us has in this room. It's the asset that our idealism makes us believe that the future can be better than the past and that we've got a responsibility to make it so. That idealism is the lifeblood of our party. We don't believe you can build heaven on earth, but we do think we have a responsibility to try. And every time we legislate for a minimum wage or improve the health service, then we do something very profound. We live out our commitments to the brotherhood of man. And progressive politics was not stilled in this election campaign. Progressive politics was not defeated in this election campaign. After all, the other parties spent most of the campaign trying to steal it from us. There's certain irony in that. The progressive lifeblood was not taken out of the country. But there was a big question mark about whether the Labour Party could be the vehicle for taking those values and those ideas forward. And so we have to rededicate ourselves in the course of this election campaign to building the Labour Party as the vehicle to take those values and beliefs forward. And we do so starting with a very, very important vow, a vow that we make publicly and that we make to each other. We will not refight the battles of the past. This is a new era. The Blair-Brown era is over. New Labour isn't new anymore. I'm not interested in a future of politics that's debating whether you're a Brownite or a Blairite. We celebrate the successes. We learn from the successes and from the failures. We build on them. My goodness, we stand on their shoulders. But we do not repeat their mantras or seek to bow down in front of the greats of the past. Because this is a new era that needs new ideas and needs to address new possibilities.